So the government just proposed 50-year mortgages to make housing more affordable for first-time homebuyers. And on the surface, it sounds great. You'd save about $266 a month compared to a traditional 30-year mortgage. But here's what they're not telling you. You'd pay $350K more in interest for the exact same house, and you'll barely build any equity for decades. I'm going to break down the real math, show you the equity trap nobody talks about, and explain who actually profits from this scheme. I've closed $50 million in real estate in the last 36 months. I own 14 rentals, and I've lost over $300,000 learning from lessons the hard way. Let's dive right into it. First, let's talk about why this even sounds appealing. The median home price in the US is about $415,000. You put 10% down, you're financing $348,000 at, let's say, 6.15% interest. On a 30-year mortgage, that's $2,288 a month. 50-year mortgage, that's $2,022 a month. You're saving $266 a month. And if you're struggling to qualify, that actually might be a difference of getting approved or not. But here's the trap. We think in monthly payments, not decades. We calculate, can I afford $2,022 a month? We don't calculate how much will I actually pay over 50 years. Banks and politicians are counting on this. So let's do the math they hope you won't do. For 30 years, $431,117 in interest. 50 years, $751,113 in interest. That's $350K more for the exact same house. And here's what really matters. After 30 years, the person with the 30-year mortgage owns their home outright. The person with the 50-year mortgage, they still owe $386,000 on their home. But the interest isn't even the worst part. The real trap is what happens to your equity. Equity is how everyday people build wealth in America. It's your financial safety net, and it has been for many years. With a 30-year mortgage, you're building equity every month. Your principal payments increase over time. But with a 50-year mortgage, your equity builds at half the speed. After 10 years, 30-year mortgage, $60K in equity. On a 50-year mortgage, only $28K in equity. And here's what people don't realize. Equity is how you refinance into lower rates, take out a HELOC for emergencies, sell and upgrade, or retire with a paid off asset. So this isn't just about paying more interest. It's a wealth trap that keeps you locked in place for decades. And that brings us to the life impact of this decision. If you buy a house today with a 50-year mortgage, you'll be making payments until 2075. If you're 25 right now, you'll be 75 when you make your final payment. When I bought my first property, I wasn't thinking 30 years ahead. But here's what I've learned after owning 14 units and 50 million in transaction. Wealth isn't just owning property, it's having a healthy balance of leverage and equity. And that's where the real wealth gap gets created. Buyer A pays off their home by age 55. They have 20 plus mortgage-free years to save, invest, and build wealth. Buyer B pays it off by age 75. They have almost no mortgage-free years. Their retirement is squeezed. Their wealth building is delayed by 2 decades, 20 years. Here's the truth. Buyer B isn't buying a home. They're renting from the bank for life. Now you might be thinking, but if it helps me qualify, isn't that better than nothing? That's exactly what they want you to think. Let me show you who actually wins. Let's follow the money. Realtors get higher commissions, builders sell more homes at higher prices, banks earn $350K more per loan, Wall Street sees property values increase, not the buyer. You're trapped in lifetime debt. Because here's what actually happens. More people qualify, more buyers enter the market, home prices go up, not down. The 50-year mortgage does not solve affordability. It creates the illusion of affordability while making the problem worse. And if you think I'm exaggerating, look at what happened in Japan. In the 80s and 90s, Japan faced a housing crisis. Young people could not afford to buy. Then they introduced 70-year mortgages, then 100-year mortgages, where debt was passed from parents to children. This was going on in the 80s. What happens next was brutal. Home prices in Japan peaked in 1991 and then fell for over 2 decades. Real estate values dropped 40 to 60%, and they still have not fully recovered to those 1990 levels even today. The economy is stagnated, wages flatlined, an entire generation lost faith in the idea that real estate builds wealth. That's why affordability matters, not because prices crash overnight, but because when they don't correct, they slowly suffocate growth for decades. That's the lesson. When affordability disappears, debt just gets stretched across generations instead of being solved. So what should you do instead? Here's my advice. Buy below your means. Get a house that you can actually afford on a 30-year mortgage. Look at creative financing, seller financing subject to. Consider house hacking. Buy a duplex. Live in one unit, rent out the other. Wait for the right deal. Don't rush the biggest financial decision of your life. Do you want to own your home or do you want to rent from the bank forever? Hit subscribe, drop a comment with any questions, and remember, discipline beats motivation every time.